long story. Started in high school, honestly, where my love of anime actually grew too. That's when I figured out really early on that I wanted to be an actor in some capacity. I didn't know about really voice acting yet, but I knew I wanted to be an actor. My guidance counselor, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life at that point, but my guidance counselor was like, "Why don't you try drama? You're pretty loud." I'm like, "Cool." So did that, and just fell in love with it. That's where the acting bug hit me. And this was around early 2000s. I was set to graduate, and I knew I wanted to go to UCLA and study acting. And didn't happen because 9/11 had just hit, and I was a junior at the time. But my dad was working for a manufacturing plant. They produced parts for the airlines, so for aircrafts, even the NASA space shuttle. And unfortunately, he was let go because people just stopped flying around that time, and there was no need to mass produce those parts for airplanes. So I ended up taking about 3 or 4 different odd jobs at the same time to help support my family, because I was the only other adult. My mom didn't really speak too much English. She was an immigrant, and she couldn't quite work legally. There was something going on with her immigration status at the time, so that was also tough. And the only real skill set that she had was being a housewife and mom. So it was really, really difficult for my family, and it was me and my 2 younger brothers. So my dad had to try to support all of us, and we lost our main income. So I was working for so many different companies, Disney included. And then it wasn't until probably around 2007, I want to say maybe almost a decade after that, is where I found acting again. I was working for a startup tech company, and a friend of mine had just said that he was taking voice acting classes. And I was like, that's awesome. That's so cool, because I can't think of a cooler job, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm talking to him, and we get around. He tells me that he's taking classes at this studio called Bang Zoom Entertainment at the time. It's now Bang Zoom Studios. And I was like, whoa, anime? That's awesome. I love anime. I thought it was just the coolest thing ever. Plus, I had some acting chops, so I thought I was going to be okay at this class. Was not. So go to the class. I'm really excited. I sign up. I'm just like, oh man, I can't wait to this is it. I'm going to get back into acting. So go into the class, and literally everybody, in my perception, is performing. They had done this for years. And I was just this kid who just had a high school experience, just doing high school plays. That was the amount of acting I did. I did do some extra work in between when I had the opportunity to, but honestly, that was just kind of walking around and looking like a background person. So, getting back to the story, I just started feeling so much anxiety and just so bad because I was like, oh, I thought I was going to just nail this because I love this and I cared about both acting and anime so much. They were both very, very important to me at the time. And it was a weekend class. So on the Saturday, a 3-day class, we broke for lunch, and that was when I was feeling at my lowest. I remember going into my car and just feeling so bad. I literally wept in the car because I had put so much importance into this, because I was like, this is what's going to launch my career. This is I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to do this. And whoo, I was stinky bad poo-poo. It was really, really bad. Or at least to me. I probably did fine thinking back on it. But I was so I had all this chatter going on in my head that I couldn't see really my full potential in that. So I thought about leaving in the middle of the class and just driving off and just pretending like I didn't do this didn't happen. This was just an error on judgment. And I'm glad I didn't. I ended up not doing it. Although I was just like, okay, let's get back into doing this. I stayed the whole class. I still felt bad. But it was too important to me to let go. So I kept doing it. And they started doing workout classes. It was Bang Zoom started. The courses are called the Adventures in Voice Acting classes. They still do them with some really great teachers. Tony Oliver is one of them. He's directed me in a lot of anime and is one of my really good friends now. And they were still new and they were still growing themselves. So it was really awesome to get to grow along with that. And eventually I became a production intern. I wanted to learn more about anime because I was like, kind of my backup plan was like, if I can't act as well, I want to be in anime in some way. It was that important to me. It still is. And so I got to learn. I meet everybody at Bang Zoom Studios. Everybody's really nice. I met the casting director, Mami Okada, who is just a phenomenal lady, just a phenomenal person, phenomenal human being, so supportive. And I attribute a lot of my success to her and just allowing me to pursue what I can today. So I did that, and I was asked to join the studio as part of the production team. They were expanding themselves. And I said no. Mommy brought me into the office and asked me just point blank, why not? And because I was excelling at it. I was pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of my defense mechanism growing up was learning how to talk to people, even though I'm not. I'm terrified of it personally. But so I was good, like at the production, meeting with people, all that. And it just wasn't in my heart because I knew deep down I really wanted to be an actor. And she let me do a lot of like extra stuff, like being background voices and stuff while I was interning there. So that was really, really nice. And she just did the nicest thing and cast me in an anime. My first one was Magi and the Kingdom of Magic. Oh my gosh, that's so hard. Because I think all my characters are kind of different facets of who I am and who I want to be and who I'm not. It's a lot of that. I really, for a time when I started recording, it was my first lead role in a video game. It was Secret of Mana, and I played the lead Randy in that. So he's just this little anime dude. But I love working on that so much because there's a really good arc that he experiences, and I love the remake so much because they add in so much character and detail to it. But he starts off as this just really kind of wimpy, whiny dude who doesn't want this responsibility to basically change the world and save the universe. And later on, you kind of just see him like develop on his own. And what's really neat is you'll actually hear my voice change because it starts off really high, and then as he becomes more of a warrior and gets more and more support from his friends and allies and things like that, you kind of see you hear me go like, oh, I don't really want to do this, to like, all right, let's do this. And it's such an amazing, like, it was a light bulb kind of moment for me too, because it was just like, whoa, this is acting, like. And it helped to have a great director. So for video game, that. For anime, probably Cowlus Forvich from the Naroverse/Fate series. He's in Fate Apocrypha, and I just got to reprise my role. I can announce this now in the Almaloy case files. So he's back, and it's really fun. What I like about Cowlus is he's basically me, in the sense that I'm just like quiet, reserved. He's just a quiet, reserved magician, but he really cares about his sister a lot. And you see that kind of develop over the series, over Fate Apocrypha, and even a little bit into the Almaloy case files. You kind of get a little bit more into Callus. But what I like about him is that he's really driven. Like, he's a masterful tactician, and you really get to see that confidence bloom. Because I still struggle with self-confidence, and to just like kind of see Callus kind of grow throughout the series in that way too. I guess I'm just a huge believer in growth and like just kind of analyzing my own growth and relating it to my characters in that way. I think those two in particular really stick out the most. Because very much in the same way where you kind of like try to relate to your characters, I related to Hush because he was very much a guy who wanted to prove himself really badly. Like really, really badly. That was his overarching like thing. Like, the way I'm gonna prove myself is to be better than this other person. And I'm not too embarrassed to admit that like I feel that way like when going out for anime roles sometimes. Like I'll look at an audition and see like, oh, like this guy would be perfect for it, but I'm gonna try to beat him. And I recognized how kind of the unhealthy part of that. I don't think there's anything wrong with seeking validation or anything like that, but I had to dig out some like unhealthy stuff because it became to the point where I needed that like to function, and it wasn't good. And throughout the series, you kind of see Hush evolve in a way where he starts as like this guy who's just like, oh, that's the main dude, I'm gonna kick his ass, to being more humble and like learning from him, and just he uses like respectful honorifics too when he's talking to the main character, Mr. Mikazuki, just in that way, and to like be able to like humble yourself, and instead of, you know, making an enemy out of someone who isn't, it's just learning from them and like learn. And I gotta say, like, especially in a community where you have to be creative and your career depends on it, you need people in your life. You need to be able to put your ego and narcissism or whatever aside and be like, I need help. You have to be okay with doing that. And that's what I learned from Hush, I think, is to be able to recognize and perceive like, oh, it's not about me trying to beat this other person out for a role. It's more about me, like, what can I learn from this person? This person got cast. Why did they get cast? I gotta listen to them. Yeah, wow, they sound great. Yeah, okay, I can see why. What can I learn from that? I think that was the biggest lesson I learned. I know immediately what my answer is. Yeah, it was the second role I ever booked. That was a main role. Was in Hunter x Hunter. It was the role of Feitan. He's for those who are not familiar with the show, he's I guess he is a villain. He's part of this murderous troupe called the Phantom Troupe, and he's just this like really quiet, reserved guy, but he's like one of the most powerful. So I've never gotten to play like a really evil guy before, so it was just so fun. And there was this episode where I got to do this just maniacal laugh and just let out all kinds of stuff I was feeling through it, and it was just awesome to do it. Hunter x Hunter is a really great series. I wasn't a fan until I got booked into it. Shame on me, because it's a great show, and great manga to read too. So I hope everybody kind of gets into it. Hunter x Hunter is great, and I love playing Feitan. I hope I get to keep doing it. I think it's great, honestly. I love it because I remember it being such a niche thing when I was in high school. I would have to go to like specialty shops or like sometimes, and like Suncoast Video at the time, I don't know if you guys are old enough for that, but it was kind of like the FYE, like the electronics, like where you'd get like where you'd buy like DVDs and videos and stuff. And like they had a really tiny anime section, so that's how I found like Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon and the more kind of like mainstream anime that was kind of accepted by everybody. But to like find like the stuff that I really wanted, like the Gundam stuff and all that, I had to like dig deep. So I think it's great that it's becoming more and more accessible to people. Speaking a little bit on the background of it, like I had a tough time growing up in high school, and having anime as like a comfort was really, I didn't realize how important it was to me. I would always tell my friends I'm gonna go home and watch Tenchi, or I'm gonna go home and like watch anime, and it was great because at the time the internet was also kind of like booming, and so I was able to get on that platform and find people to connect to, and friends that I still have to this day from so long ago, just because of anime. And I think it's great that it's like speaking on just an actor industry point of view, Netflix has been doing a lot more anime. There's this one project that I can't talk about yet that I'm really excited about, that I can't wait. But like Netflix has been really good about bringing more anime to the populace, and more streaming services like Hulu. Crunchyroll just got bought out by Sony, and they're getting the monopoly because they own Funimation as well, and all these great studios. So I think it's great that more and more people, and seeing other people too, like that one NFL guy saying he loves anime, and like just making that okay. Like, it's okay to like anime. I remember there was a stigma like, oh, if you liked anime, you're a weirdo, and it's like, no, like anime is for everybody. Like ice cream. Ice cream is for everybody. Anime is for everybody. Having a strong support system. I had to really systematically eliminate a lot of the things that I felt were either a distraction or really holding me back as a person from the growth that I really wanted to achieve. And it's hard. It's hard to get into that mindset because there would be days, or I shouldn't even say days, like months where I just wouldn't get out of bed. Months or times where I just like lie in my bed. I'd call out of work when I had like a 9 to 5 and just assimilate into my blankets and just like the lights wouldn't be on. I wouldn't listen to anything, just be alone with just the endless chatter in my head. And it took a lot for me to recognize that was really unhealthy. A lot. It took some proper self-reflection and, like I said, a good support system. I can't stress that enough. And it's hard because I suffer from a lot of social anxiety. I like put me in a social situation, party. Like, I'm not a party person. I don't club. I don't do it. Like, put me in a situation with a bunch of people, and you will watch me like. So, finding the right people to trust, and having like, and saying that now, like, I'm still working on that. I'm still trying to be better. I'll even say this interview was very like intimidating to me at first. Like, I'm like, what do I know about mental health? And it just was like, nope, let me just tell my own story, and hopefully that translates into something that's mental health related. But I think a lot of self-reflection, a lot of being honest, a lot of accountability. Honestly, I don't think enough people take accountability for their own actions. I think a lot of, and I was the same way. I would blame, oh, like it's raining today, I don't want to go out, I don't feel well, I'm not hungry, a lot of stuff. A lot of, just like I said, chatter. And it took like surrounding myself with with good people that I trusted to really pave the way for me. And I attribute a lot to my current girlfriend right now. She's been huge advocate for mental health and for my mental health, and so supportive and just absolutely everything I do. So again, to stress, people are important. And then it was, as far as starting therapy, that was hard. That was really hard because you're basically opening up to a stranger about everything in your life that just, you don't know this person. Like, you have to just trust that, like, okay, they're not going to be judgmental and they're professional. And it was just kind of like working through that. And once I did, my therapist gave me a lot of really great tools. One of the really best ones that she gave me was whenever I'm having like obsessive thoughts or really those just really bad energy, if like I like got into an argument with somebody, or if I'm just feeling like or I'm telling myself like, oh my gosh, they gave me this role, I'm not good enough for this, like why did they give this to me, oh my god, I'm gonna F this up, is 2 questions. Whenever I'm feeling this way, it's, do I have enough evidence to support how I'm feeling? Because I'm a very logical person. That's why it works so well for me. I'm like, no, I don't have anything. Like, if I were to put this in court, they'd be like, hearsay, like it's nothing, like it doesn't count, like, because you don't have enough evidence to support how I'm feeling. So example, I got into an argument with my girlfriend, and and then at the end of it, I knew I was in the wrong because I asked myself that question: is there enough evidence to support how I'm feeling? And the second question is, what would you tell someone you love who was feeling the same way you were feeling? And that, like, those two, like, changed my life. Like, those 2 questions, because, like, I find myself doing that constantly now, and it's helping me not take things personally or making assumptions. Like, and those 2 things are really, those are hard to get under control, for me, anyway. So it was that, and just practicing mindfulness, finding the things that work for you. For me, it's doing push-ups. Example, after that argument, I had this, I didn't even know what this was, and my therapist actually helped me figure it out, but like having that like awful energy and it just stays with you. So even though after you figure it out, like, okay, I'm in the wrong, I'm the butt here, like what what happened? Like, why do I still feel this way? And it turned out for me, it was a lot of residual energy, just pent up energy. And doing something physical, for me, again, I can't, hopefully, maybe it'll help some of your viewers out there, but for me, it was just like, okay, I gotta get this out. And it was just doing 10 push-ups, like, immediately, just alleviation, just like, wow, okay, it was just getting out that bad energy. For others, it could be a lot, me, I'm a terrible singer, but I love to sing while washing dishes. Like, I'll just go into show tunes and I'll just do that and like rock it out and annoy the hell out of my girlfriend at the same time. But it still makes me feel good, and she understands that, so she's awesome with compromising for that. But it could be just taking a walk. It's more just kind of being in the present and like not letting those, like having those thoughts, like, because you can't just block out thoughts and just redirect like a robot immediately like that. It takes practice, it takes a lot of work, and it's just like having that thought and like, that's nice, like let it pass you by and just being in that moment. And it helped me a lot with my ADHD and just like focusing in general. So a lot of tools like that. Biggest ones, practicing mindfulness and questioning your perception on things. It's her. No, there's no doubt in my mind. 200%. Like, she's been so good. I'm getting emotional because she's such a, I think everybody her name is Emily, and I really do think everybody needs an Emily in their life, for sure. That's how I feel. She's so good. She's so patient. Abnormally patient. Like, it's weird how patient she is with me, especially because I know myself. Like, I'm kind of zany sometimes, and I can be a little much. And a lot of it is just kind of like my defense mechanisms and just wanting to be liked still. And she doesn't care about any of that. And I think that's awesome. It's hard for people to take accountability for their own actions for themselves. It's really hard to objectively do that. I need it. I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say that I'm in therapy. I think everybody should be in therapy. I think it would behoove everyone, and it just help the world be a better place if everyone was able to just, again, like kind of what I was saying, just put their self aside and just say, I need help. I'm not happy in this part of my life, and I need to figure out why. And mental health is just, it's too difficult to navigate alone. And I think, especially now, like in 2020, we hear a lot about it. It's always just like me. And everything in just society in general. We have like the iPhone, iPod, like things like that. And I think it's created kind of a space where, and like just with the boom of the internet, like it's created a space where people, I think, feel the need not to, like they can do it on their own. Like, we've become so self-reliant now, especially now, like with quarantine and everything happened, like you have to kind of be. And it's still, it's people also, I think, not having a name to it. Like, I didn't know what was wrong with me for a long time. And I shouldn't even say that, because wrong, like broken, fixed, like things like that, that's BS. You're not broken if you're having mental health issues, or if whether you are or not. It's recognizing and challenging your own perceptions on things, for sure. And it took a lot of work. It still is. It's a constant work to be able to manage and recognize that your emotions are a wild thing and not fact. And sorry, I'm rambling at this point, but my concise answer is, I think a lot of people don't like to ask for help. Mm-hmm. And I think they're too afraid to, or like you said, you talk about stigma. I think people still have that perception, like, oh, there must be something wrong with me if I'm going to therapy, and it's not that. Like, I know people who on the outside look like healthy to me, but they say, like, you know, I just still go, like, example, I had a friend who went for a particular issue, who's just started, and is still, to this day, has been doing it for years, because it just helps them manage different parts of their life that they didn't even realize was like, oh wow, I can make this better? Like, crazy, okay, let's do that. So I think there isn't a whole lot of word out there. No, not that. It's also taking it. Sorry. Social media is also a thing, and I want to speak on that because I removed myself from social media because it was a very unhealthy thing for me. Talking about like that need for validation and stuff like that. And again, I don't think there's anything wrong with needing validation. I think I was just doing it to excess and to an unhealthy level. And it was just like I was posting things not for me, like it was just to get that like, get that comment, get some attention. I want some attention, me. And it was hard to like remove myself because like everybody I was literally connected to was on there. And it was like going back to like just texting people and emailing and just kind of like that. And like before the pandemic hit was hanging out with people and just reaching out that way. And I found that was just a whole lot better for myself because I think that also plays into a little bit of mental health. We always see all the positive on social media, and that bothered the hell out of me. That like all of you are perfect, really? Like not and I used to tweet stuff out or like post stuff about, man, I had a really hard day. I sucked at this audition. Like I don't feel great. All this stuff because it was stuff that I wanted to see. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it was stuff that I desperately needed. Like I needed to see that somebody else was going through the same BS that I was going through, that the same strife, the same struggle. I wanted to see people struggle, and we don't get a lot of that on social media because we always want to put our best foot forward on that. And I think that plays a little bit into also why it doesn't seem like people are wrong or it doesn't seem that things are wrong with a person until sometimes you just ask. I picked up this really great game called We're Not Really Strangers. It's a card game that's in the vein of, oh, okay, someone knows about it. Yeah, it's in the vein of kind of like Cards Against Humanity, but it's more it's more on a connection level with just connecting to people, and like it has all that like positive like mental health stuff going on, but it can get really as deep as you want it to. It starts off with like answering surface level questions about the people you're playing the game with, and then it goes into kind of like heavier stuff if you want, and it's really, really great. I suggest everybody play that game at least once in their life. Without saying get therapy, everybody. Get therapy, everybody. I think it's so important. I just to stress, it's too important and too difficult to navigate alone. Find the people who support you. I know there's a lot of you out there, because I used to feel the same way, where nobody loves me, I don't love anybody, like you have to be honest with yourself. Please, 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 please. It's so important because the world needs you. Absolutely. I'm telling you, the world needs you. Please, 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 please have accountability for yourself. Be honest with yourself. It's okay. It's okay to just not feel good. It's okay to feel like shit sometimes. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be intensely extreme with your emotions. It's just learning to recognize that your emotions are not facts. They're wild, they're crazy, and they just overwhelm us at times. And it's just taking a breath and like learning what works for you. You don't need to just surround yourself with support. Be accountable for yourself. Love yourself, for Christ's sake. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. It's so important. If you take anything away from what I'm saying, please learn to love yourself. Give yourself more credit than you even just watching this video or whatever. Just love yourself. What you guys do is phenomenal. I wish I had this when I was younger.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you guys. Please keep it up.
Well, we hope you have a nice day.
Yeah,
I guess
sure.
that's enough. Just thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. No, please. It's all the sentiment you feel towards me right now. That's right back at you. Please, like what you guys are doing is so important. Like I'm huge about just taking care of yourself and loving yourself and practicing self-respect and self-love. So what you guys are doing to get the message out there. I'm gonna talk to my therapist and hopefully get some like anime kits like sent to her, like for sure.
Oh, it makes me so happy.
I know, same. I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words. I'm just like, oh my heart.
No, it's
also
so
surprised this happened.
Tommy, real quick,
Yeah.
I just will say they were very excited to hear that you were the voice of Feitan, if you couldn't tell. So we were all like,
I saw your Kilo.
oh yeah.
I was like, yeah.
I figured because I have Feitan shirts too, but I don't want to be wild and be like, here, repping.
Just be like, all right, look at this real quick.
So, look at this. I thought about getting a spider tattoo, but I want to know where his is.
Oh. Is it not always on their backs?
I thought it was on their back.
No, it's not on his back.
No, because
there's
what's her face is on her like side too.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. The one. Okay, I know. Okay.
Yeah. So I know his, because I always that's a tattoo I'm probably gonna get is a Feitan because he's pretty important to me. So it's gonna be a spider tattoo. He's the number 2.
Mhm.
But I just want to know where it's at because I kind of want to put it in the same place. But if it's on a weird same place, I'm not gonna do that.
What? Well, how would because it's not in the manga, right?
It's not like
No,
I'm only
it's
on volume.
not.
I'm only on
Waiting
volume
to-
like 33. Or
I'm
So I'm
like,
like-
yeah, I'm like waiting, like
emails
and-
to Gashi, like, sir.
Well,
It's on his leg? Because, I mean, we've seen him
That's
with
what I'm-
his shirt on, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Mhm.
yes.
That's what I'm thinking, and I
have.
hope it's on his leg. Let's hope it's on his leg. But they just like, yeah, we didn't know his number for a long time too. And like I was like, oh, he's number 2. Yeah, damn right. Yeah, that's a tattoo I definitely want to get. I just kind of want to know where it's at first, and then make a decision. But anyway, thank you guys so much. This was really fun. You guys made it very easy and very not intimidating because I came into this with a lot of trepidation. But like that's with everything I do. So nothing. This was great. Thank you guys so much for this, and I'm sure a lot of my friends who would love to be interviewed by you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again.
Sure. I'll let you guys go.
Alright, have a nice day.
All
care.
right, bye.
Bye.
It's nice meeting you.